Hi, good morning. Okay. Yes, hi. Okay. Hi, good morning. Yeah, hi. Okay. Uh, I have a total of 11 years of experience. I have worked on technologies like C Sharp, ASP.NET, MVC, Web API, Angular, and various other services. And my recent project is on Sesame for the client Newmark. This application is for internal usage of their client. Previously, it was a legacy application which was developed in ASP.NET. We have been modernizing it to Angular with Web API and SQL Server, and we have been deploying it to Azure. So in Angular, we used to create the UI and we used to call the API calls to fetch the data, and we have various functions created in Angular to display the data as per our requirements. And in Web API, we have created the API calls with using the C Sharp code, and we have used .NET Core for this Web API. So we have these dependency injections in the .NET Core, and we have been using it, and we have fetching the data from the database. The database is all the old database only. We have been using it, and we have been deploying it into the Angular app services using the Azure CI/CD pipeline, and we have used various services like Azure Logic Apps, Azure SQL Server, and Azure Key Vault and Azure Active Directory as well in this application. Uh, yeah, we have used entity framework in our application to fetch the data and use it. Yes, we have used entity framework with code first approach in our application to fetch the data. Yes, yes, and database is MS SQL Server. Yes. For authentication, we'll pass when the user uses the visits our site. It will have these user details passed through the to API, and it will be sent to the Active Directory where the details will be checked and a token will be generated by the Active Directory, and this token will be passed to the API and then to the client, and it is stored in the client in Angular. So every time if they are performing any operations, this token will be used to check the authentication, and process the request of the API. That's how we had. We're using the web APIs only where we have configured the Active Directory in it. So yes, we have written a code for that to check that API. We will create. We have written the API. We have created the API and we have configured the API to pass the data to the Active Directory. Come again? Yes, it is single sign-on project. Mm. Mm. Yes. Mm. We will be configuring the. We will be calling these Azure Active Directory details. We have to our API. The input is the user details, right? When we are logging into that system itself, the user details will be saved, right? That details will be. Mm, it is saved on the OS only, right? The login details in the OS, and that details will be used by the application. Yes, yes, I have worked on API gateway as well. Azure API management. I and other developers used to work on it. Configuration. The team lead has the major permissions. We can interact with them. Yes, I have worked on it as well. Uh, Before counting the code, In our current application, what we have done is we have created a CI/CD pipeline. So in that we will call the no, we can also configure it to run the run the repository code to Sonar Cube. We can trigger that. Every time we have made commitment code commits. Yes. Yeah, I understood. But without committing the code, we cannot have it on the repository, right? Yeah, we have code reviews. So when we are moving, we used to have a personal branch, right? In the personal branch, we will be committing our code, and in our code reviews, we will be moving our code to the master branch. So every time we will have the code reviews, and we will check it with our team lead, and he will make suggest changes, and we used to do that. Mm. Mm. No, it won't go to the pipeline, Azure pipelines. It is that code will be we have for pipeline, right? Only specific branch is selected, and we will be using it. Not all the branches, right? Yes, but before matching, we will review the code, right? Manually do that, and we will check it if it is okay or not. I have knowledge on them, but I haven't worked on them. Yes, yes. In a Sonar Cube, it will review the code, and it will provide the errors and like that only, right? It is no need for building the code in Sonar Cube. This, mm, mm, I have no idea about that. Actually, for current project, it is already developed. As I said, it is a modernization. We have already we already have a developed DB, and we have been using. Yes. Mm. Yes. Yeah, in the latest code approach, we can add the tables from the database and into the application. We can it will generate the models as well automatically. Mm. Yeah, that's what we am saying. It will also we can also generate in code first also based on the data tables as well. That's what happened. That's what we did in our project. We have database and then we generated the entity. Yeah, we make major changes in our application itself on instead of database. Yes. It is not mandatory for entity that we have to use only DDL or DML commands. For code first, we have to add a property in the class. Yeah, we will do the migration and it will migration commands and we will do it. But in latest, yes, I have followed this approach. Yeah, in Entity Framework 6, right? We have been using Entity Framework 6, and it is we can it supports that if already code database is already existing, we can it will support that support the code first as well. We don't need, it is not a thing that you have to do that. Yes, I understand. In the code first approach, we have to use a property in the class, and we have to add the property in the class, then we will do that, and it will be added into the database. I understand. But here it is, what happens is when we are configuring the entity framework for the first time in the code first, if there is already a database existing, then we can it will we can add those tables or columns directly into our database, sorry, into our .NET application, where the models will be created automatically. Entity framework, in entity framework 6 it will do that. Mhm. Yes, yes. Mm. Yes, 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 master script and all. Yeah, we can manage it on the UI side only, right? We can create the drop downs, and we can configure them as per the requirements, and we can use them to pass the data. So for UI, we can define whatever drop down values have to come instead of from the database itself. In the UI, we can do that. Master data is already in the database, right? It will be there if it is needed. Mm. Yeah, we can add the tables in our database and we can add the data as well. We can do that too. Yeah, we create the model in that entity framework, and then we will do the migrations, and we can add that whatever data into that table that is required, and we can do run it. We can run the application. For production database, we don't have access. Only the team leads or the managers they do have the access. Yes, you can. Yes. No, I am saying that only the team lead has access to the production. The team members will not have the access. Uh, yeah, I understand there is a possible scenario like the team lead can share the production, but not in our team currently. It is not happening that way. No. Yes, I understand that, but yes, that can happen. Okay, thank you very much.